Alright folks, in this video we're going to take a look at something very cool. A wireless gaming handheld. A universal wireless gaming handheld. Now, think about those words. Universal. Universal wireless gaming handheld. Does it mean streaming? No. This is beyond that. This is a handheld that works with everything. The Peakdo version 3. This is not the old Peakdo. This is the newest one, 2024 edition. It is really cool and we're going to take a deep dive into it right now. So let's unbox the Peakdo Universal Wireless Gaming Handheld. Now it's not called that, I just call it that because it's a universal handheld. So looking at the box, the first thing you'll notice, it looks a lot like the Switch. It has these Joy-Cons on the side and they are actually Joy-Cons. So this is what the device looks like. Now I have unboxed this before because I wanted to do some testing, but we'll just go through a little bit of the packing. So when you get it, you'll get it something like this. These cables will be covered with another box. You have your manual, which is digital. You get the screen protector, and then you get your Peakdo. So let's see what else is in the box. You also have the version 3.0 HDMI transmitter. And I have no idea why they put this in there. Maybe it opened something, I couldn't find anything. The general cables that they include, this is your USB cable, the Type-C cable. This is probably the most important cable, but you could replace it and get another one. And it also has a USB-A power cable. It has a mini HDMI cable, which is also pretty useful if you want to use it, but I use Type-C for the most part. And I believe nothing else of significance. So let's get rid of the box and show you what else it comes with. So this you have to buy separately. It's a dock. It's a dock for the transmitter. Pretty simple and easy to use. It only requires one cable, which is a USB 3.0 cable. It can also take in HDMI, and if you need additional power, in case you use HDMI, you need power, use the USB-A. It has a fan in it to keep the stick cool because it can get a bit warm sometimes, because this is an HDMI transmitter. What it does, if you hook this up to anything, be it your PlayStation 5, my acronym laptop, which I'll show you, it transmit the signal at 60 gigahertz, which is a very high frequency, very strong frequency that can pretty much transmit video lag free. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, I can just use Wi-Fi. No, you can't. There is no Wi-Fi technology in the world right now that can give you, even local Wi-Fi, that can give you 100% jitter-free, I'm not saying lag-free, jitter-free experience. Because of the way the GPU and the CPU work with the game, it's impossible. Currently, we just don't have the technology because you're going to have some jitters, and those jitters get covered by artifacts, streaming artifacts. But when you use this, you get no jitter. It's like playing it right on your handheld, which I'm going to show you. So that's just the explanation for the transmitter. Now let's take a look at the main event. This is the Peakdo wireless handheld. Now if you look at it, it looks very much like a Nintendo Switch. It even has connections for Joy-Cons. Now the older versions were just simple rails. This is not that. These actually connect Joy-Cons into them. So you don't need to directly connect them to your PC. It actually connects to the Peakdo. And it has Joy-Con rails. It also charges the Joy-Con, which is freaking cool. Looking at the back, you can see the IR connectors. Now these are the things that you need when connecting to the HDMI. So you can go like 50 or I think 60 feet away. As long as you're in the same room and you have line of sight, you're good to go. But if you don't have line of sight, it will break. So that's the only downside to it. If you're into couch gaming, you can play pretty much anything around the house, but I'm going to show you something very cool. This does turn into an Android tablet as well. Yeah, it can be an Android tablet. Now you're going to ask me how, and I'm going to get into it. But before that, let me take a look at the specs. So What's really cool about this device, this is a native landscape display. This is not a portrait display. This is native landscape. Now on their website, they do have a portrait display, which has a little bit of less bezels. I would not recommend it. It's the older version. The newer version is completely landscape. It's 100% sRGB color gamut, covers it. And it does 120 Hertz refresh rate. That's very, very cool. Now, this version, this particular version, does not do wireless 120 Hertz. You need to have one Type-C cable and it does display out 120 Hertz. But they do have a version that does 120 Hertz wirelessly as well. It's another model. This does 60 Hertz wireless. So if you're wireless, it has a 60 Hertz refresh rate. If you do wired, it does 120. But the 120 Hertz is currently, I think, available. It's only available in China. I could not get that. This is a 7-inch IPS display, a very, very good IPS display. It's not AMOLED. They should have an AMOLED version later, I think, or perhaps. But for what it is, it's an excellent screen. The blacks are really, really good, and we're going to take a look into that as well. Now, looking at the back, this is your interface, which you're going to be using a lot of. You have your power button, you have your menu button. So this button basically controls all your color, gamma, brightness, video in, or wireless video out. It has a PD charger that does PD charging. It has a USB 3.1, which is full featured. I wouldn't say full featured, it's 3.1, so it can take display in, but I wasn't able to get the device to charge while doing that. So maybe there's something wrong with the cable, but I don't know. It has a mini HDMI in for traditional HDMI if you just want to use the HDMI cable in. And it does have a vent for cooling the wireless portion of this device. So internally, this does not have a chipset. You may have seen videos about this before. So this device by itself, internally, it doesn't have anything. But now, before you run away and saying, why would I want to get something that has nothing? You can connect your small, tiny Android phone into this device and it becomes a freaking Android tablet. I'm going to show you that. It's very, very cool. Basically, this allows you to attach anything you want, any Snapdragon chipset, any PC chipset. You can just attach it to it and it becomes that, which is very, very cool. So the other thing I want to talk about is internally, the only thing this has is a cooling fan that cools down this device. It's got the mmWave technology that is used for transfer. It also has a 7000 mAh battery, which could last you anywhere between 3.5 to 5 hours to 6 hours, depending on how much brightness you're using. But let's say conservatively, if you're using on medium brightness with wireless technology, it's going to last you around 3.5 hours, 3 hours 50 minutes. 3.5 hours. Yeah. So now I'm done with the specs. I know this is a boring bit, but I have to go through it because it's a new technology that a lot of people are not too they don't know about it as much. So this is a Nintendo Switch. In case you want a comparison, this is the OLED version. Now the Nintendo Switch does come with the flap. This does not come with a flap, but if you take a look at it, they're pretty much the same thickness. In fact, the Peakdo, despite having the same screen size, is smaller. You see, by height it's smaller. It's also quite a bit lighter. You can look at the website for the weight. It's quite a bit lighter. It has the downfiring speakers, and the reason it is smaller is because the bezels. So if you look at the bezels, oh, there you go, we get a look at that. So there's the bezel on this. The bezel is only 4 mm on this. The bezel is much bigger on this. The lower lip of this device, the bezel is a little bit big. So those are the basic things. And now the first thing we're going to do, so you can either use Joy-Cons if you want for this device. So they go right in. All right. And since this does have Bluetooth, so I'm just going to get into that. So when you turn this on, there's nothing going to be on it. So we're just going to take a look at the menu. So it does have a Bluetooth connection. So what it does is, if you connect your Joy-Cons to this, it turns this device into a PlayStation 4 controller, and it connects to your PC. You can do Bluetooth on your PC, and this package connects as a PlayStation 4 controller, and the images come through. So the first test we're going to do, for people who say that this device is, you know, useless if you take it outside. No, this is not. This is actually one of the best devices to take outside, on the train, anywhere you want to go. So now I have over here, this is my Galaxy Fold, and what we're going to do is something very, very basic. So this is a GameSir G8 Plus. Do not buy this controller. There are a lot of reviews which lie about a lot of stuff, and I'm going to do a review, so wait for my review if you want to know why. So it's not a bad controller, but there are issues. So now the first thing we're going to do, we have my Galaxy Fold. So what Galaxy devices, Samsung devices, do have decks in them. So we're just going to use decks on this. So the simple thing to do, first let's close it up, light cable. So what I'm going to do is very, very simple. Anywhere you go, you're going to have your phone, and you just need one cable. You plug this one cable in. Oh, where's the USB-C? There we go. And you can see Samsung decks. Now this is touchscreen. It does have a touchscreen, so I can unlock my device. Now, if you don't want this cable sticking out, Peakdo does sell these. These are very, very cool, and I'm just going to show you. It's a flex USB-C. So right now we're just going to do the USB-C part, and in the later part of this video I'm going to show you what it can do wirelessly. So this is the flex. Alright, so we have Samsung decks load up. So the Fold 4, I think this has a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 or 2, I'm not sure. I do have another device, but I'm using it to record. So this has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, yeah. So now you have your portable handheld. So you can use this anywhere in the world you go. You just need one cable. And it could be an inconvenience to some, but if you're in a train, you just want to plug it in, you want to play some games, you know. So now you have your handheld. So this is a GameSir, and we're just going to connect it in Android mode. So the GameSir doesn't connect to this, it just connects to your phone. And you can just put it in. So we're going to go into Yuzu. Now keep in mind this is running from my phone, as I said before. Let's just play Ember Knight. So since this is just display out, there's really no lag or anything like that. You could stream it as well, but I'm going to do first display out, as I mentioned before. Very good sound quality, very good color production. This is definitely very, very vibrant, and I have an AMOLED display. It almost matches that. You know, the only thing the AMOLED has over this is a little bit of that deeper black, but for the most part, it's very, very good. Alright, so that's a very, very basic test, and let's get out of it. Alright, so the first use case scenario, which it's portable, you can take it anywhere, is your Android handheld on your screen with your controller. Now we're going to go into the second part of this, is where we will just use it wirelessly. So let me just turn off this controller. So now we have no signal. Now I do have my handy tablet. This is the Z13 what is it called? It's the acronym, the Z13 Flow acronym. It's a limited edition. It has an RTX 4070 in it. It's 13 inches. Very, very cool device. And I always have this wherever I go. You know, whenever I travel, I always have this. So we're just going to turn this on. So you just keep it right there. And I think we use this one. You can see my desktop is over there. All I do is I click this switch on, so it's going to start the Peakdo. Keep in mind my controller is already connected to my desktop or my laptop. So Just give it a bit, and there we go. So my desktop is now on my wireless handheld, so it can work with your PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, anything you have, as long as the controller can connect directly, or you can use an adapter. Now this has got 0 latencies. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put both screens on. So to give you an idea of the latency, now the distance is not going to affect the latency as long as you have line of sight. It doesn't really matter. So I do want to give you an idea of what's going on over here. So there you go. So you see there is nothing. It's literally nothing. And even if you go far away, it doesn't make a difference at all. Up to 50 feet, it is, for me personally, up to 50 feet, it's not made a difference. So let's play a game. Let's say I want to play No Man's Sky. All right, so we have No Man's Sky loaded up, and just take a look at the mouse movement, or sorry, the gamepad movement. It's 1-to-1, no jitter, no hags issues. Oh, what I mean by hags is when you are streaming through your NVIDIA or well, basically any GPU card, when you play games that require a lot of RAM and are heavy usage games, they require hardware graphics accelerated scheduling. Your games can jitter because what you're doing is basically decoding from your PC, encoding from your PC and decoding to your device. So there's going to be some kind of jitter which causes artifacting, and it's not a very pleasant experience. We currently just don't have the technology to do it like 100% jitter free. It's not possible, but this is jitter free. It's almost like you're playing on the exact same device. So think of it as like a portable monitor, and this is very, very cool for that. It's completely connected via the HDMI wireless, and if you look at the older reviews for this device, when it came out on Kickstarter, people had issues where if they block it a little bit, they couldn't, use it. But this doesn't have that issue. As you can see, it's completely flat and it's still running. That's the thing. But if you completely block it, it will break. You need some kind of line of sight. So ideally, you want to keep this somewhere in the center of your room, where it has full line of sight, and you can play it very, very well. Because I'm using my laptop portably, it takes it. Oh man, I didn't want a dark environment. Alright, so it's 1-to-1. Just see, so I'm pressing it. The only delay you can have is your controller. So this has around 4 to 7 milliseconds of delay from the controller, but there are Wi-Fi direct controllers that have no delay at all, so you could use those. But personally, you won't notice it at all. So it's less than 7 milliseconds. So as I'm pressing it, so if you slow down this video, you'll see that there's no delay. Take it very, very slow. No delay at all. I spent like 2.5 hours playing this last night. I just couldn't stop because this device is so cool. So you might want to, now I have ordered a good pair of Joy-Cons, like the Mopad H or M6. They haven't arrived yet, but so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how it works with the Joy-Con. So let me just turn this off. Alright, so now my Joy-Cons are connected to my Peakdo, and my Peakdo directly connects to the PC as a PlayStation 4 controller. Now, connecting this as a PlayStation 4 controller is a little bit tricky, but I'll get into that in a little bit. So basically, when you connect your Joy-Cons, any Joy-Cons, there's a bunch of Joy-Cons out there, some really cool ones, any Joy-Cons with Bluetooth functionality, what they do is they connect to this, they charge, and they pair into this device. This becomes one set. And this connects as a PlayStation 4 controller to your PC or whatever else. If you have a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 requires an adapter of some sort, but the controller bit is separate. You can use adapters or you can use a direct connection. I prefer direct connection to my PC, so now this is a PlayStation 4 controller. It has all that functionality, and let me just go back into the game. In case you see reviews that are, the older reviews, those require the Joy-Cons to be connected to the device. This is not the case with the new Peakdo. This is the version 3.0. One thing to note, on their website, they have version 3.0 SE and they have version 3.0. Do not buy the SE. The SE is the older model. It's just a slightly modified one with smaller bezels, and but it's a portrait display and it only does 60 Hertz. Now the portrait display does have some lag, a very small amount of lag. I don't recommend that one. Get the new one. This is the 3.0 version. So there we go. The game's loaded up. So you get pretty much the same experience. HD Rumble is supported, so the PlayStation 4 Rumble basically works on the Joy-Cons, and it works on the Game Store as well. As long as you're using any X input mode, it should work. Sony does support the X input mode. And so you have your universal handheld game player. So it pretty much works on anything. And as I told you before, if you hook it up to your phone, you can use it anywhere in the world. You can just stream. You can use Moonlight on this. If you really wanted to use Moonlight, you can hook this up to your phone or tiny whatever Android board you have, and you can use it as a streaming device worldwide, outside, anywhere you want. So it's a very, very cool device, and I think more people should try it out. I do have other handhelds. I have IO Neo and all that. This beats everything, because those devices are hardware. That's the hardware. So once you get rid of the whole hardware equation, what you get is something that you can have your own kind of controller that you want. Whatever setup you want. So I like this setup. For me, this is very, very comfortable and perfect. And for couch gaming, for Android gaming, this is the one. How is that even possible? Well, I'll tell you how. It's